Gatsby here. So far we've talked about what costs you money, kids, and mortgages. Today I want to talk about something different, something that actually works in your favor for once. Your first $100,000. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, Gatsby, I can barely save $1,000. Why are you talking about $100,000? That's exactly why we need to talk about it. Because the difference between having zero and having $100,000 is greater than the difference between $100,000 and $1 million. Let me say that again. Getting from zero to $100,000 is harder than getting from $100,000 to $1 million. And most humans don't understand why. They think money grows in a straight line. Save $10,000 per year for 10 years, you get $100,000. Save $10,000 per year for 100 years, you get $1 million. Simple math, right? Wrong. As a dog, I don't have money, but I've observed humans who have it and humans who don't, and I've noticed something. The ones who break through that first $100,000 barrier completely change. Their stress levels drop. Their options expand. Their entire relationship with money transforms. And it's not because $100,000 makes you rich. It's because $100,000 is the inflection point where compound interest stops being theoretical and starts being real. Charlie Munger, who was Warren Buffett's business partner, once said, "The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it." He was 96 when he said that. He'd been wealthy for decades, and that was still his advice. Get to $100,000. That's the hard part. Everything else gets easier. Let me show you why. Let's say you're 25 years old. You start with zero. You save $500 per month, that's $6,000 per year, and you invest it in a basic index fund averaging 8% annual return. After 1 year, you have $6,180. Exciting, right? You saved $6,000 and made $180 in returns. That's a free dinner. After year 2, you have $12,854. You've contributed $12,000 total. You've made $854 in compound interest. That covers your Netflix subscription for the year. Thrilling. After year 5, you have $36,679. You've contributed $30,000. You've made $6,679 in returns. That's nice. That's a used car. But it took 5 years. This is where most humans give up. Because 5 years of disciplined saving, and all you have to show for it is what feels like not much. You're still working the same job. You still can't afford a house. You're still stressed about money. What was the point? The point is you're building the foundation, but the foundation is boring. Nobody gets excited about a foundation. Humans want to see the house. They want instant results. They want their $500 per month to turn into life-changing money immediately. So they stop. They buy a new car instead. They finance a wedding. They take a vacation they can't afford. They tell themselves they'll start saving again later, and they never reach $100,000, which means they never experience what happens next. Let's keep going with our example. After 10 years of saving $500 per month at 8% return, you have $91,473. You've personally contributed $60,000. You've made $31,473 in compound interest. That's starting to look more interesting. Your money made $31,000 while you slept, but you're still not at $100,000. And that's important because the magic really starts after $100,000. Let's say you keep going. Year 11, you hit $103,645. You've contributed $66,000. You've made $37,645 in returns. Now watch what happens. Year 12, $116,723. Your money just made $13,078 in 1 year. That's more than you contributed. Your money is now working harder than you are, at least in terms of your savings. Year 15, $172,905. Your money made $28,905 in that year alone. You contributed $6,000. Your investments made $28,905. Your money made almost 5 times what you contributed. Year 20, $296,006. You contributed $6,000 that year. Your investments made $41,006. Your money made nearly 7 times your contribution. Year 30, $745,180. You contributed $6,000. Your money made $108,180 $180 in 1 year. This is compound interest. This is what Einstein allegedly called the eighth wonder of the world. And this is why the first $100,000 is the hardest part. Because in the beginning, compound interest is pathetic. You save $6,000, you make $180. Big deal. But once you hit $100,000, compound interest becomes meaningful. At 8% return, $100,000 generates $8,000 per year. That's more than you're contributing if you're only saving $6,000 annually. Your money is now making more money than you're adding to it. You've crossed the threshold from "this is taking forever" to "holy shit, this is actually working." And here's the beautiful part: it accelerates. The next $100,000 takes less time. The third $100,000 takes even less time, because every dollar you have is working for you, generating returns, which generate more returns, which generate more returns. This is why I said getting from $0 to $100,000 is harder than $100,000 to $1 million. Because once you have $100,000 working for you at 8%, you're generating $8,000 per year in returns without lifting a finger. Add in your $6,000 annual contribution, and you're now adding $14,000 per year to your net worth. At that rate, you'll hit $200,000 in about 7 years, then $300,000 in 5 more years, then $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, each milestone coming faster than the last. The math is exponential, not linear, but humans think linearly. So they save for 3 years, see slow progress, and give up before they reach the inflection point. As a dog, I find this fascinating. Humans will stick with a bad relationship for years because we've invested so much time. But they won't stick with investing for years, even though the payoff is mathematically guaranteed to accelerate. You'll waste 3 years on a relationship that's going nowhere, but you won't invest 3 years in a portfolio that's mathematically certain to compound. Make it make sense. Now, let's talk about the psychological shift that happens at $100,000, because it's not just about the math, it's about how it changes you. When you have $100,000 invested, you stop living paycheck to paycheck mentally, even if you're still living paycheck to paycheck practically, because you know that if something goes wrong, job loss, medical emergency, car breakdown, you have options. You have a cushion. You have FU money. Not FU I quit money, not yet, but FU I have 6 months to figure this out money, which is powerful. Humans with zero savings are desperate. They take bad jobs because they need the paycheck immediately. They stay in toxic work environments because they can't afford to leave. They make short-term decisions that hurt their long-term prospects because they have no choice. Humans with $100,000 saved, they have leverage. They can negotiate salaries. They can walk away from bad deals. They can take calculated risks, because they're not operating from a place of desperation anymore. This is what financial independence actually looks like in the early stages. It's not retire on a beach. It's I can breathe for the first time in my adult life. And here's what happens psychologically once you hit $100,000. You start to believe it's possible, because up until that point, wealth felt theoretical. You'd read about compound interest and think, sure, but that's for other people. But once you see your account hit 6 figures, something shifts. You realize, I did this. I built this. And if I can build $100,000, I can build more. The mental barrier breaks. You go from, I'll never be wealthy, to, I'm on my way. This is why people who hit $100,000 in savings rarely go back to zero, because they've proven to themselves they can do it. They've developed the discipline, the habits, the mindset. They've delayed gratification long enough to see the results. Meanwhile, people who never saved $10,000 tell themselves they could save if they wanted to. They just choose not to right now. They'll start next year, after this vacation, after they buy that thing they want, after, and they never do it, because they never proved to themselves they could. So they don't believe it's possible, so they don't try. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. As a dog, I see this pattern constantly. The humans who achieve things are the ones who believe they can achieve things. And they believe it because they've done it before, even on a small scale. Small wins create momentum. Momentum creates bigger wins. The first $100,000 is your first big win, and it changes everything. Now, let's talk about the biggest obstacle to reaching $100,000, your own behavior. You know what prevents most humans from reaching $100,000 in savings? It's not their income. It's not the economy. It's not bad luck. It's lifestyle inflation. You get a raise. Instead of saving the extra money, you upgrade your apartment, buy a nicer car, eat out more. Your expenses rise to match your income, and you're still living paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher income level. I've watched humans go from making $50,000 to making $150,000 and still have nothing saved, because they spent every dollar they made. They told themselves they'd save once they made more money, but more money just meant more spending. This is the trap, because reaching $100,000 in savings isn't about making more money. It's about not spending money, which sounds obvious, but apparently isn't, because most humans fail at this spectacularly. Here's the brutal truth. If you can't save on $50,000, you won't save on $100,000. If you can't save on $100,000, you won't save on $200,000. The problem isn't your income. The problem is you. You need to fix your spending behavior at your current income level, because if you don't, more money won't help. You'll just spend more. And the math is simple. To save $100,000, you need to not spend $100,000. That's it. That's the secret. Don't spend money. Invest it instead. Wait. Let compound interest do its thing. But humans hate this advice because it's boring. It's not sexy. There's no hack. There's no shortcut. It's just spend less than you make, invest the difference, wait a long time. People want to hear about crypto that will 10 times, or day trading strategies, or real estate flips, anything that sounds exciting and fast, because waiting 10 years to see meaningful compound interest sounds terrible. But you know what else is terrible? Being 45 with no savings, still living paycheck to paycheck, realizing you wasted 20 years of earning potential because you couldn't delay gratification long enough to build a foundation. The humans I observe who have money, they're boring. They drive boring cars, they live in boring houses, they don't have the newest iPhone, they're not on expensive vacations every month. They're just quietly, consistently, boringly saving and investing. And then one day they wake up and they're millionaires. And everyone asks, "How did you do it?" And they say, "I just saved consistently for 20 years. And people are disappointed because that's not a hack. That's just discipline. As a dog, I have discipline. When I'm told to sit, I sit, even if there's a squirrel. Even if I want to chase the squirrel, I sit because I understand delayed gratification. Sit now, treat later. Humans understand this concept when it comes to dog training, but when it comes to their own finances, they chase every squirrel, every shiny new thing, every impulse purchase, and then wonder why they're not wealthy. The squirrel is always there. The treat comes later, but only if you sit, only if you wait. Now, let me give you the actual roadmap to $100,000, because I've told you why it matters, how compound interest works, and what prevents people from getting there. Now, let's talk about how to actually do it. Step 1, track your spending for 1 month. All of it. Every coffee, every subscription, every impulse purchase. Write it down or use an app. Just know where your money goes. You can't fix what you can't see. Step 2, cut the bullshit. You're spending money on things you don't need, don't use, and don't remember buying. Cancel subscriptions you don't use. Stop eating out 6 times a week. Stop buying things because they're on sale. You don't need a 4th pair of sneakers. Step 3, Automate your savings. Don't rely on discipline. Discipline fails. Automation doesn't. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your investment account the day after you get paid. Make it impossible to spend that money because it's already gone. Step 4. Invest in boring index funds, not individual stocks, not crypto, not your friend's startup. Boring, diversified, low-cost index funds like VTI or VTSAX. Set it and forget it. Step 5. Don't touch it. Not for a vacation, not for a car, not for a wedding. This money is for your future. It doesn't exist for present you. It's locked away, compounding, growing. Step 6. Increase your contributions whenever you get a raise. Got a 5% raise? Increase your savings by 5%. Don't inflate your lifestyle. Pretend the raise didn't happen. Just save more. Step 7. Wait. I know it's boring, but time is your advantage. The earlier you start, the less you need to contribute because compound interest does more of the work. Start at 25, save $500 per month, you'll have $1.8 million by 65. Start at 35, you need to save $1,300 per month to get the same result. Start at 45, you need to save $3,900 per month. Time is your biggest asset. Don't waste it. If you're young, you have time. Use it. If you're not young, you needed to start yesterday. Today is the second best time. Start now. And here's what happens if you do this. In 10 to 15 years, you hit $100,000. Your stress levels drop, your options expand. Compound interest becomes real instead of theoretical. You stop living paycheck to paycheck mentally. You develop confidence. You prove to yourself it's possible. And then the next $100,000 comes faster, and the next, and before you know it, you're actually wealthy. But it starts with the first $100,000. Everything changes after that. But you have to get there first. And most of you won't. Because it's hard, because it's boring, because it requires delayed gratification, because you want things now instead of wealth later. And that's fine. You can make that choice. Just don't be surprised when you're 50, still broke, watching other people retire early and wondering what you did wrong. What you did wrong was you chased squirrels instead of sitting still and waiting for the treat. Dogs understand this. Humans struggle with it. But the ones who figure it out, they win. They reach $100,000, then $200,000, then $500,000, then $1 million. And they do it by being boring, by saving consistently, by letting compound interest do the heavy lifting. Because after $100,000, everything changes. The math changes, the psychology changes, your life changes. But you have to get there first. If this video convinced you to finally start saving for real, hit that subscribe button, because I have a lot more financial reality checks coming your way. And trust me, if you can't handle the truth about building wealth, you're definitely not going to like what I have to say about lifestyle inflation and retirement myths. I'm Gatsby, and I'll see you in the next one.